Hey cadets, how you doing? Andrew Scott, and you're welcoming yourself back. That was crap. Don't say that.
Attention! Stand at ease!
Hello cadets, and welcome back to Booth Camp. I'm Andrew Scott, your, what am I, a sergeant? A drill instructor?
Sir! Yes, sir!
I don't know. I'm just a dude sitting in a little box talking to y'all. But today, I want to talk to you about a piece of gear that I think is something that you might want to take into consideration if you're thinking long-term about voiceover work. I was talking to my friend Mike Del Gaudio over at Booth Junkies on his Discord server. By the way, link below to Mike's Discord server and our Discord server as well. But I had posted a picture that I got a new piece of equipment, and Mike asked me what I thought about it and how it was going, what the application was. And this piece of equipment is something that a few years ago was quite frankly out of most home VO people's reach by way of cost. But that cost has really come down lately, and it is now a very viable option. It's a viable option for people in a particular circumstance. It's not really going to be super helpful for everybody, so don't think this is something that you need in order to be able to do voiceover. It's not. You need a mic, a box to stand in, and some recording software. But this is a really nice complement for people like me who happen to do a lot of audiobook work. Now, I get hired to do audiobook work both as a voice talent and as a producer. And one of the things that I'm known for is the way I deal with dialogue. I make very realistic sounding dialogue. Instead of somebody merely reading a dialogue scene to you, I recreate the dialogue scene. And my characters all have different treatments on them. Now, when you're doing audiobook work, especially if you're starting out, normally what you'll wind up doing is you'll hit record on your software and go, get a chapter done, stop, go back, edit it all in post, and then have a result. And that's a perfectly fine way to do it. But when you start dealing with many different characters, and you're 30 minutes in, and one of those characters that you gave some manner of voicing to very early on, if you don't remember what they sound like, then you suddenly have to stop the recording process, go back. Unless you've gotten very good at using markers in your DAW, you probably have to look around on the waveform, see if you can't maybe figure out where it is, and or waste the time doing a longer listen back in order to find that voicing, get it again, go back to where you were recording before, jump back in, and then record that. Now, that might not be that much of a lift if you're only doing one or two voices. Right now, my current audiobook project is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. And there's a scene, and it's a not insignificant scene. It's a scene that is about 2/3 of a chapter long. So it is the better part of the recording of this chapter. It is a luncheon with 8 people. So I have to do 8 different voicings. Look, I've been doing this a long time. I forget what I sounded like 5 minutes ago, let alone 4 characters ago. So it would be really nice if I had the ability to control my DAW with one hand. The other thing to take into consideration is I'm in a little 4-foot by 4-foot box. About 1/3 of it is taken up by way of a work surface that's down here out of sight. You'll see it in a picture in a moment. But I don't have a whole lot of room in here. By the time you take into account the size of the work surface and another ancillary table I have that holds some of my rack gear, I got maybe 3 square feet in here. And I mean, I like it small because it's easier to treat acoustically, but it's got some drawbacks. So I have what I call an octopus arm. It mounts to the back corner of the desk, and it holds my laptop, this Neumann is on a boom arm that's suspended from that unit. It holds my tablet for reading copy. It holds a light ring for when I'm doing other kinds of video content. And it keeps things off of my work surface. But dealing with a laptop like that is pretty awkward. The other issue is, by way of layout in here, my laptop winds up having to be on my right-hand side. And I'm left-handed, so extra awkward. Well, just use your right hand. Well, because of a disability, I can't really use my right hand. That's pretty much what my right hand does. So it really behooves me to be able to control my DAW with one hand and to be able to move back and forward in that DAW, to be able to check what I sounded like 15 minutes ago, and be able to control track assignments. Because doing everything in one long stripe is okay, but it really increases the amount of time you have to invest in post-production and editing. I don't like editing. You probably don't like editing either. Guess what? Yeah, we're professional editors, aren't we? So making the editing and post-production process be as smooth and fast as possible not only keeps the hair on your head and the marbles in your brain, it also means that you make more money per hour, because the faster you can get something done and the more efficiently you can do it, the more money you're making. And, our margins are tight. So back in the day, to solve this problem, I used to use this little guy. This is a Korg Nano Control 2. This is a little DAW controller made for 8 channels. And it served me very, very well for many years, until the wisdom of Apple decided to give us an OS update that ruined its functionality with my DAW, which is their product, Logic. So I went for a long time without a DAW controller, but I decided, as I'm into this very gnarly new audiobook project, that it was time to look into another DAW controller. And I went with a company that a lot of people don't have good experiences with from back in the day, and that is BEHRINGER. Hey kids, Production Andy here. I got to cop to something. The name of the company is pronounced BEHRINGER. I went to high school with somebody who had the same last name but pronounced it BEHRINGER, so throughout this entire video, I screw up and I refer to my old friend instead of the company proper. So again, every time you hear me say BEHRINGER, it's actually BEHRINGER. All right, back to the video.
We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
Now, generally speaking, I'm brand agnostic. If the thing works, if it does what is printed on the tin and does so consistently at a good price point, I'm interested. And there are a number of different control surfaces, they're often called, but I'll just call it a DAW controller. There are a number of DAW controllers on the market, and they range from cheap stuff that I probably wouldn't want to roll the dice on, all the way up to a 32-channel fully automated mixing desk. Don't need that. Definitely can't get it in here in the booth. So I went with the BEHRINGER X Touch 1. Now, full disclosure, this is my unit. I paid for it myself. I get no money if you go buy one. They have, I'm not in touch with BEHRINGER. They don't have a stake in my game with this video. So I'm telling you what I purchased and the reasons why. First off, it's only a one slider controller. It is, well, as you look at it, it is not small unit, but it's not huge either. It's a little bit smaller than an iPad. But it has a lot of very useful features. The other reason why I got a DAW controller again of any kind is because I wanted to be able to control my DAW in a way that would allow me to change track assignments, scrub back and forth to be able to hear previous voicings and things like that, and to simply speed up my process, because being able to do a multi-track take versus a single stripe really speeds the editing process. All I have to do now is save my Logic file, and this would go for Reaper, or I believe it would probably go for Adobe Audition. So now all I have to do is save that entire file down to my MacBook, shoot the file up to the cloud via a cloud service, walk out to my editing desk, and get to work. And get to work on something where all the track assignments are obeyed. All the voices are in their respective tracks. And then all I have to do is go in and do some simple cleanup, slide things around, and adjust for timing and pacing. It really speeds the process. So for Mike and for everybody else who wanted to see this, let's take a look at what this can do. Okay, so I've got a little project pulled up here for the sake of demonstration purposes, and let's say it's 2 characters and a main narration track. I'm a little bit off mic right now, so I apologize if I'm not sounding as sonorous as I'm supposed to. But let's just have a little look at what we can do here. So let's say that we've got a first piece of narration dialogue. I'll just go over to the DAW controller and I'll hit record, and we'll just make a stripe. Morty walked over and picked up the phone. Now, obviously, if I was going to be doing a full stripe here, I'd go on with the whole narration and all that. But in reading the copy, I see that the character Morty speaks next. Wouldn't it be nice to just be able to jump to that track? Well, with the DAW controller, you can. And now I'm ready to record Morty. So all I do is jump in here and I go, hold on a second, I gotta make a phone call. And then the next character comes up, and that's Billy. And so we just jump up with one key and hit record. What do you mean you gotta make a phone call? And on and on. Billy said indignantly. Now, I kind of flubbed that word. How do I re-record it without reaching up to my Mac? Pretty easy. You just go back, hit call. Record. He said indignantly. Now, you can see on Logic, I currently have Logic set to multi-take. So I can do one of 2 things here. I can leave all those takes nested and maybe run at it 3 or 4 more times to make sure I've got some choice options. And there you go. But let's say that I just want to get it right and get done with it. I can then go into a different function of Logic, or I can do what's on the controller here, which is replace. So now when I go back and do it again, it won't give me that multi-take option. It'll just record over it like this. What do you mean you gotta make a phone call? He said indignantly. And now I've only got that one take to choose from. This can be really handy. You can do so much so quickly with it. What? I gotta make a phone call. What's the big deal about a phone call? You grab the phone, you make a call. Boom, you're done. And then being able to go back, did I do that voice right? Hold on a second, I gotta make a phone call. Yeah, apparently I did. And the X-Touch 1 currently runs for under $150, delivered to your home, getting you working right away. It's a real option, but it's an option if you're going to be doing this kind of work. The utility is kind of limited if you're really only doing quick hit VO jobs, commercials, stingers, YouTube videos. But if you're heading towards audiobooks and you plan on doing things that have multi-characters in it, this is an option that you might want to consider. Again, there are many different kinds of these from many different manufacturers. The most important things are, do they work with your DAW, and can you afford it? Don't overbuy. Again, I don't see a utility for anybody in VoiceOver having a big 8-track multi-track mixer. It's just a lot of real estate that you probably don't want to give up in your booth. So think about it, investigate it, take a look at it, try one out if you can. But until next time, this has been Andrew Scott. This has been Booth Camp. See you later, everybody.
Dismissed.